Double claps for the girls.
Phew, I don't know how many of the claps are gonna make it, but I was like, 2 clap episodes, sick.
Well, we had a little bit of noise on the first one, so
Yeah.
I was like, we're gonna double clap just to be safe. Usually it's not a big deal, but welcome back to another episode of the show.
Yay, you made it.
Show's getting better, at least analytically.
We hope. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, Toothless Dan did a lot of carrying. I think his 4 comments.
Shout out to the first official friend of the pod, Toothless Dan.
You were ready to switch the whole show to whatever he wanted.
I was like, what is he like? That's what we do. So warning, Noah, I'm going to be throwing some stuff to you later.
We're about to become a fucking UFC podcast.
That's it. I'm going to go watch that, and I'm going to have opinions on it.
Could you imagine a UFC podcast where neither of us know anything
Right,
about
we're
it?
just like, that looks cool.
That was a big hit.
Is that legal? No idea.
Actually, on that, though, because they just had the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight,
Yes.
I just listened to a YouTube video that broke down how Jake Paul might be using all of this boxing stuff to just launder money. And it's about how, like, before every one of his fights, all these anonymous bettors come out, and I don't know, just it creates a lot of betting traffic that's like abnormally large for any types of fights. And so this whole thing with Mike Tyson was to, again, launder an even bigger amount of money because the draw would be so big that it wouldn't really get like the law enforcement's attention.
Wow.
Yeah. So I guess the formula was like he would pick an opponent who was already in a lot of financial trouble, and he would go to them and he'd be like, hey, like, let's fight. And then he would never say anything to them, but he would hire people that would start threatening that person and the team, like, and his family. So whoever the person was fighting, and be like, hey, so, like, you got to let Jake beat the shit out of you, right? Like, you got to take a fall on this one. But Jake would never say anything. So Jake could say that he's never paid anybody or anything to do that. And I guess he's been taking all of these crazy synthetic drugs that don't show up on like the USADA reports.
Wow.
And anytime someone has tried to do like a pop-up audit on him during his training camps, they've like either gone on vacation, ended up fired. Like it's pretty gnarly.
Whoa.
It's pretty gnarly. And I was like, makes perfect sense. I feel like all of entertainment is run on dirty money.
Okay, sure. I was just like, wow, me and Jared listen to such different podcasts. In our spare time, I was like, I'm not up to date on any of this. So you're going to have to do the heavy lifting on the UFC takes.
Well, like we talked about, I think in the second or first episode, I'm a big conspiracy theory guy.
Right.
I'm a sucker for this thing you think is happening. This is what's really happening. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
And you can just
It goes 6 hours.
And you just never get enough of those, huh? You're just like, yeah,
no,
then what else?
No, definitely not. Ever since I was a kid, I always felt like shit was not what people were telling me it was.
For sure.
And so I think it's just, I'm always looking for that in my life. And like, I mean, we even see some things in like the little world that we're in. When you go into it, you think like, oh, well, if I just keep getting funnier, I'm going to get, and then you're like, oh, that's not how this works at all. I need to be friends with certain people. I need to tell certain people that their set was good when it wasn't. I need to
produce a show.
Yeah.
For sure.
You got to do a whole bunch of stuff. And so I think everything in life is like that.
Yeah.
And I want to get to that place as quick as possible. I don't like having my like dream shattered, so to speak. I'm like, oh, I thought this should be a meritocracy. And I was like, all right, okay, cool. That's the game we're playing. Great. And that might just be because I'm Italian. And
I was going to say,
I'm always looking for that.
Just a young Jared, like, where did the skepticism, were like either of your parents like, don't listen to this in school because they're teaching you that wrong?
No, funny enough, I think my dad actually, like, his career's pretty like by the book, normal guy. Like he really is one of those, I came to this country with no money in my pocket, and like now I like am the VP of a bank. Like that really is
Mr. Camacho.
Yeah, and he might be the last guy who ever gets to do that. Like I think that's a lot of, not to take anything from my dad's like personal work ethic, but it's like when he was born, when he came here, and what he did.
Yeah.
And you just see now all these celebrities are coming out as like not what you think they are. Like, I don't know. I think once I started seeing how money actually influences everything, I was like, oh, this makes way more sense. And you see it just everywhere.
Yeah.
Like you could argue that the first election for Donald Trump was very much the fact that he had his own money.
Yeah.
Like, and that was a selling point to people. Like, I'm not even talking about his policies, but he was able to go like, I know so-and-so's taking money, so they're full of shit. I know they've taken money. They've taken money from me. And everyone was like, whoa, you're not supposed to talk about this. You're not supposed to talk about the super PACs.
Bets are off.
Yeah. And he's just like, whatever, we're going to drain the whole swamp. And then he
easy Shrek.
yeah. No, it's great. Yeah, exactly. He just built his own swamp. He's like, we're going to
sure.
drain this swamp and I'm going to make
Stay out
a
of my
better
swamp.
one. It's going to be so slimy. We're going to have so many donkeys.
The most toadstools.
The most toadstools. People are going to walk in here, they're going to be like, oh my God, there's so many toadstools. That's
Exactly.
what
I love that. I love doing that. That's the best. That's my favorite of all the like Trump impressions. Is just the commenting on like how I was going to walk into this room and what my thoughts were.
Yeah. If he is really that crazy, like I would love to be that crazy for like a week.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, oh, I'm the greatest thing.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that'd be cool.
To have the self-esteem.
Yeah, I think it's
man.
Yeah,
I long for it. Just to be like, actually, not everything I do is stupid. Maybe actually everybody else is stupid.
And I think people like that, I would imagine it's not even that they just think that they're the greatest. I think they think the systems that let them know if they're great or not aren't checking.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's like, I will get away with this.
Oh, for sure.
That's what I think. It's like when you look at the kid who like doesn't look both ways and just beelines it across the street, no fear.
Yep.
Cars stop for him.
Yeah.
So therefore he never really has to look.
Yeah.
You know, and this is obviously not
until they don't, you know.
Sure, but
bad.
The more times he does that and doesn't get run over, the more emboldened he goes, I don't have to do that thing.
Yeah.
It's just like people who are really good at picking stocks. You'll notice most of the time, it's just their early years, they got so lucky, were able to make a big enough war chest that when they start losing now at the bigger level, oh, I did lose $1 million here, but I made $3 million over here. So I'm up $2 million. So whatever. But at the beginning, that's devastating if you don't have that like seed capital.
Right.
So
yeah,
people always say it's the hardest thing is to make your first $100,000 or first $1 million, but like after that, it gets way easier because again, the games, it's like getting into high stakes poker. Now you can win or lose at a much bigger rate.
Yeah.
There's this guy on TikTok who's like known for betting. He's been kicked out of all the casinos because he's supposed to be really good at betting, like reading cards and all that type of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess he even knows how like the certain machines, certain models of like one-armed bandits work. So he like knows exactly when to go there and win and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him before? Because he's like a guy who's like covered in tattoos, kind of a mousy white guy.
No, but friend of a friend, my friend was telling me that his friend's into probably this person and like literally just went to Las Vegas and won 14,000
That's
on
awesome.
like slots. Yeah, exactly. So please, about this man.
Oh, I was just going to ask if you knew him or knew of him because again, he's gotten really popular in the last year.
Yeah.
And he's a very distinct looking person. He's not like someone you'd ever miss because he's got face tattoos, like looks... I'm sure he used to be a drug addict.
A real Post Malone.
Yeah, but I would argue Post Malone looks a lot healthier than this guy.
Yeah, good for him. And I'm so happy to see that for him.
For Post Malone?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his real name? Isn't his real name something crazy?
Believe it's Austin.
Okay.
I don't know. Super producer Noah is already on it. I love that.
That's
I love
what we're
that
looking
for. So as that comes
Austin
in,
Richard Post.
Austin Richard Post. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the Post Malone is his last name.
What is the Malone for then?
Ooh. Is it ahead of himself? He's like, what's the next question? I already got it. I know what the next question's going to be. Post Malone's dad. We have the same birthday.
Nice.
Yeah. It was the best. So for my birthday this last year, Max, my husband, and I, we flew down. That is the correct direction. I had to think about it. We flew down to LA to see Shane Gillis and Andrew. Well, he's this very niche comedian I'm a big fan of. Okay. No, but he and Andrew Schultz did the crypto. I always call it the cryptocurrency arena. I don't think that's what it's called. But
yeah, I think it's called the crypto arena, right?
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Anywho, they brought out Post Malone.
Okay.
And then he did a couple songs, which was pretty cool. And then at the end, he was like, "It's my dad's birthday. We're all going to sing happy birthday to my dad." And I was like, me and Post Malone's dad have the same birthday?
Nice.
And I was so excited about that. And I was like, nice. Because I don't like my birthday. I do like celebrating other people. So I was like, way to make this day not suck.
Why don't you like your own birthday?
I don't know. My birthday is like my own personal New Year's. And I hate.
I have no idea what you mean when you say that.
I hate New Year's, and
okay, well,
this one's just for me. So it's like New Year's. It's like other people are experiencing it, right?
Saturdays are like my flag day, boys. That's kind of how I.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about it, to be honest.
Right? Would you fuck Flag Day? No, I'm just always like, I'm very like introspective all the time. But like on my birthday, I'm like, what have I done in this last year? So actually, I think this one coming up, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah, 32 was cool as hell. Like, you started comedy and you quit your job. That's awesome. And then we started a podcast. So I think I'm going to be pretty stoked. But normally, I'm, like, disappointed. So I kind of take stock of my life on my birthday. Mm-hmm. I do poorly with attention that I don't earn. I don't like to just be like, I don't like people like, oh, my gosh, your birthday. It's like, I did nothing, right?
I get that. Yeah. I totally understand that.
But it's like I get on stage, I tell you a joke, and you laugh. I'm like, I earned it. I can enjoy this attention. Sick. You just stopped me, Noah, when we got to the Malone thing.
Yeah,
Nice,
so
we got it.
so there's two answers here. Malone, the actual word, means an Irish surname that comes from male Eon. The name means a servant or disciple of St. John. But Post Malone, AI is saying that his stage name is a result of a rap name generator.
Oh, like Childish Gambino?
I was just going to say like Childish Gambino.
Yep.
Man.
And he found it at 14 or 15, one of the two.
Cool.
Yeah.
We should get one of those generators.
I was going to say we should get him on the podcast, but that's all right.
That too. Let's just add it to the list.
Really niche it down. Be like, hey, Posty,
Right.
where'd this name come from? Mm-hmm. What website did you use? Mm-hmm. Was it the first choice?
Right.
Was it the third choice? I feel like we could just keep asking him what number it was.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content there. That's what I think. But I wouldn't want to talk to him about his music because everyone's already done that.
Right, obviously.
Ask him just about how his time on Kill Tony was.
Every time.
Yeah, like, did he have fun?
Mm-hmm. The first time we saw Kill Tony live, Post Malone was on the panel at the Kia Forum.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you sponsored by these venues?
Yes.
You're
no,
very
I'm just like,
the Kia Forum, your place for entertainment.
Right. Where things happen constantly. But yeah, no, I don't know. That's just where, because I've never been to Texas. So I don't like go to the regular Kill Tonys. Like whenever Kill Tony's over kind of this way, I try to go. Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to see Kill Tony when I was out there, but I did get to go to the Fat Man stage. I was sitting front row.
What'd you see?
I saw, so the regular show they do there is the Joe Rogan and Friends show.
Right.
Where you know Rogan's going to go up, but you have no idea who the other three comedians are. Mm-hmm. So the night I was there, it was Isan Ahmad, because he opens up pretty much everything there if he's not on the road. Then it was Duncan Trussell, Ron White.
Wow, how happy were you?
I was excited. Yeah,
obviously.
A lot taller and skinnier than I anticipated.
Yeah?
Yeah, I just didn't know. I don't know. Like, he's just a much lengthier human being than you would suspect.
I think now, yeah. I think we're talking about Ron White, right?
No, I was talking about Duncan Trussell.
Yeah.
But Ron White, Ron White looked good.
Yeah.
Looked really healthy.
Yeah.
He was definitely the funniest one.
Yes.
And I mean, you were kind of splitting hairs there, but like, yeah, no, he really, watching him, you get to see like the next level. Like, he didn't even take the mic out of the stand.
No.
It was really incredible. And then Tony Hinchcliffe came up. But Tony phoned it in because he was preparing to film his hour at 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So he just popped in and just kind of roasted the whole crowd for 15 minutes. Yeah. Which was cool. He roasted Ronnie and I.
Yeah. Do you remember the roast?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He just said, he goes, he said, Asian and a Latino, you don't see that every day. How did you two meet? Uh-huh. You were fighting over a bag of rice at the grocery store? Uh-huh. And like, we kind of giggled.
Was he close?
No.
Oh. Uh-huh. That was the end of the roast.
I don't shop for rice.
Yeah, exactly. Silly questions.
Goofy.
Tony, what are we thinking?
No, that was it. That was pretty much it. And then he moved on.
Oh, you didn't like have a back and forth? You didn't have a rapport?
You know, he's Tony Hinchcliffe, and it was his time. I
wasn't
going to heckle Tony Hinchcliffe at the mothership.
No, and then you've been like,
you're gay.
Yeah. Well, guess what, Tony? You're gay.
No, you're like, this is going to be a roast battle right now. No, I just meant like, he was like.
I wasn't in the roast game yet.
Of course,
this
obviously.
was pre-roast game.
What am I thinking?
Yeah.
I'm a silly goose. It's not just you and your hat. But no, I meant like, if he's like, oh, were you at the grocery store? And then you're like, no. And then like he asks more. And then you get to like,
oh, he did ask us how long we've been together.
See?
I said 7 years and Ronnie said 6. And he goes, I'm going to trust the Asian with the math. And I was like, cool.
Yeah.
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 It was just exciting to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rogan went up and he did the hour that he eventually put on Netflix.
Right. From the boats.
Yep. So, which was good because I had to go to the bathroom during his set. So I missed a good chunk of it and I got to watch it.
What did you think of like the progression from like when you saw it until when you then saw it on Netflix?
I think there was a little bit of time between when he.
Yeah. So he had it pretty.
It was only a couple months because I was there in March.
Yeah.
And then he put that out, 2 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 5 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there was a lot of changing it. I also think it was an hour that he'd been doing since COVID started.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing too. I'm really into like, right now I'm listening to like my favorite podcast from like 2020, which is Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. So I'm listening to like the 2020 episodes in the Patreon and I just keep going further and further back. And what is really cool is like Shane was just talking about this joke that eventually makes it to Beautiful Dogs, his most recent like Netflix special. And I'm like, dude, that's sick. I like that. Where it's like you've had this like refined joke and you've just made it that much better. Cause like the way that he just kind of tells it real quick on the podcast cause he's trying to give context to an experience he had hosting a show for Rich Voss, which I was just like,
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Well, very great. Very great. One of like the great older guy comedians. So anywho, I like that. I like that like you're continuing this bit and then actually takes it by the time that he like, cause I kind of think you retire it once you have a Netflix special, obviously. And
that's
you say
usually
it,
the idea. Yeah.
Then you're like, can't say that anymore. But until that comes out, you know, you can still kind of get away with it until it comes out. Has a whole new great twist on like how he does it.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for that because I mean, who am I, right? Doing it since a couple months ago, but I'm so big on like doing new constantly. Like almost every time I'm getting up, I'm doing a whole new set. And so I'm hard on myself because I'm not redoing stuff and I'm not allowing it to be refined. So I think that that's really cool to be like, I have this idea and then I did it and I refined it. And then however many years later is like, and now it's this. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
Ralphie May talked about how if you're kind of getting bored of material, you're probably not challenging it enough in the sense that like, once you create your first 5, you always tell those jokes in the same order. Mm-hmm. He's like, you can make it fresh by trying to make it work backwards. Mm-hmm. Start with the last joke, work your way back to the first joke. Or when you get to your 10 minutes, right? So you got 2 5s theoretically, then you start flipping them, like trying to do them in different orders. That's how you can find the different segues. And sometimes when you try to put a joke in between 2 other ones, again, you learn a new dimension to why that might be funny.
Yeah.
And he said something about like this video's on YouTube. So for anyone who wants to look it up, I think it's like Ron or no, sorry, not Ron. Now I'm getting tired. Ralphie May. Thank you. At the Comedy Store. I know you've seen the video, Noah.
Yeah. So it's like a video of him, like a couple hour video, right? Of him giving instructions at the Comedy Store to like a group of other comedians. Ari Shaffir did one too.
It was a master class that I think these comedians used to either have to pay for or was a drop in. But he talked about like giving yourself points every night when you do these sets. And you get like 3 points if you do a new joke, 1 point if you did your jokes in a different order. But it was just an idea to keep yourself taking that material that you've already maybe developed a little bit and developing it further. Yeah. And I try to remember that sometimes, but I've gotten into a nasty habit right now where I don't really do a lot of new stuff. Yeah. Or I don't solidify anything. But I just did a 15-minute spot. Yay. And I didn't get through half of what I had written down, what I thought would have been 15 minutes. So, and it went well. So I was like, oh, I probably have a lot more material than I think I do. Because I was kind of stressing about a 15-minute spot. Yeah. I was like, oh, there's going to be a lot of stuff I got to put through here. But yeah, went by really fast. And I mean, I was like doing little things in between it.
Little crowd work.
Yeah. 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 It's hard because that stuff always works really well for the way I do stand up. So it's like, some people would probably call it padding, but like, I don't know. I'm in a very like, I don't give a fuck
Yeah.
what everybody else wants to do.
As you shouldn't.
I'm doing this for fun, like for me.
Good.
So if something comes to me, I know the only way I write though is by doing different things. All my best bits have come from me changing the routine that I do every day. So I will not write new jokes that'll be any good if I'm just going to the gym, going to work, doing Our Place, coming out. Like that's nothing good will come out of that.
Yeah.
Our Place is where I learn how to go up there with nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I've gotten out of that. Good Time Tavern, kind of the same thing now. Is like I go there all the time. These people know me way too well. They don't want to hear my shit over again. I don't even think they want to hear it in a different way. Just like, no.
Right.
Make fun of whoever looks the most homeless in here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's what you want from me. And you know, now that Noah has hosted it, now that Noah has hosted it, I think he can attest to that. Like that's a very different version of my stand-up if I'm at Good Times. No one can judge my like material off of what you're seeing there because it very rarely is used that way. But that's why like G-spot is important. Say it.
I'm not gonna say
You're
it.
gonna laugh?
No, I'm an adult.
It's actually called the G.
I'm an adult. Yeah. So you're just adding spot for fun.
It was initially told that to me by Nate Schwartz, and I got that stuck in my head.
Yeah.
That it's the G spot, and I don't even think he meant it as like a joke. I think that's what everyone thought it was, and then I finally tried to put it in my like
Should
GPS.
call the open mic that.
The G spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
So Leah, figure it out.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You won't even take a finder's fee for that.
Anytime.
And then Thursdays I do improv class, so that's always good just to change stuff up. But I did have a new bit that I did do at Our Place that worked.
Y'all excited?
Yeah, because it was a bit that I had tried to do a long time ago, and the way I went about it was way less cool than the way I do it now.
Yeah.
And it was about the this is gonna sound so weird. It was about the Bible verse Matthew 1:20.
Please share with the class.
This is when the angel Gabriel tells Joseph that Mary is pregnant with Jesus. And I used to be like, how crazy is that? God's such a gangster. He gets his friend to tell this guy that his wife is pregnant.
Yeah.
It's okay. I didn't have like a nice steady through line with how I would do it. And then I started really getting into like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Are you familiar with what biblically accurate angels are?
No.
So angels as described in the Bible do not look like people. They look like a mass of wings and eyeballs. They're actually like pretty terrifying, which is why anytime an angel speaks to someone in the Bible, the first thing they say is be not afraid, because it's just like this almost Lovecraftian looking monster. And I said, how hilarious would that be? You wake up at the foot of your bed as a Lovecraftian monster.
Yeah.
It says, be not afraid.
Yeah, chill. It's
God
cool.
got your wife pregnant. And then it like flies away. I was like, that's hilarious because you're already traumatized that you probably don't even have time to process what just happened.
Exactly.
And then Michael, George, and I were in the back after just riffing, be like, it just keeps coming back down, telling you more bad news. Like, like, by the way, she's got chlamydia. Flies away. By the way, God didn't do it. In fact, he's really tired that you keep asking her, or she keeps calling him. Like, come on, dude, like, let it go.
Right.
So it was funny, but getting to come back to it in that way was kind of cool because I was like, oh, this is a much better way to do this joke because it's just way more succinct.
Yeah.
And I don't have to, when I construct a joke, and I don't know if it's the same for you, I think of it as like setting up two different guideposts. There's like, what do they need to know so I can hit the punchline? That getting through the middle part can be really confusing sometimes because if the joke's too fat, like you're explaining way too much and they're like almost don't even care by the time it comes through. Opposite is where you don't have enough context and you go, and they're like,
they're like, we don't know who you are, bro.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, with that new structure for the joke, I feel like it's like, oh, you don't need to know anything other than, I just need to explain what a biblically accurate angel is.
Yes, you do.
And then be like, say this thing that you would not expect a monster to like say.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm not saying angels are monsters. Christians will get mad at me, but they are known in the Bible to terrify everybody who talks to them. So,
and I have to take Jared's word for it. So,
which I think it's freaking cool. Honestly, that makes the Bible look way cooler. That like, yeah, because there's different.
It's kind of spooky.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But
you love horror.
I do.
Yeah.
And there's different types of angels, and they all look different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the wings and the eyeballs thing is called the seraphim. But then there's ones called orphanim, which look like big wheels with eyeballs. Like, it's pretty gnarly.
None that aren't spooky, huh?
No, but I think they can also take the form of people. I think they can if they want to. I don't know. Now I'm getting.
Then what is a cherub?
Cherubim, different type of. So there's I think there's 9 archangels. So that's Gabriel, Michael, Metatron,
Optimus Prime. I'm pretty sure you said Megatron was the last one. I'm
close,
like, nah.
close. Metatron.
I heard this. You said the same thing. You were like Bumblebee. I was like, for sure, dude. I've seen Transformers. Let's go.
Basically, the archangels were the most powerful ones, the ones that spoke directly to God. And then there's the ones under them, which I believe were the seraphim. And then, but like Orphanim, like just help. They're like transport angels or some shit like that. They like help God's chariot get places. I don't know. I'm really out of my depth. I'm sure I'm pissing off people that are really religious. But basically the point is, if you can't look at religious art and think that was like copied from the book. In the Renaissance, they changed a lot of it to explain it to, because you got to remember back then, not a lot of people were literate. So only the clergy knew how to like read the Bible and then interpret it for people. And so to help them understand it, they couldn't be like, here's a fucking winged monster. What the fuck is this? But then once it becomes more public and like the printing press comes out and everybody can read the Bible, one, a lot of people don't want to because it's not an easy book to read. But all these people start realizing, whoa, this doesn't match up with anything that I like saw. But cherubim are a different type of angel, which again get artistically represented as little fat babies.
Yeah, cute. I saw that. I was like, that's probably what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an advertising campaign. The Renaissance was an advertising campaign for the Bible. And that's not totally accurate, but it's close enough.
Yeah. No.
Let's get you started. Go on YouTube. Look up the things I look up. You'll see it. I'm not making this up.
I'm taking it as the gospel.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry, my bad. My bad. No jokes on the comedy podcast. I'll knock it off. So silly.
No, I'm laughing because I know how proud of yourself you were. You probably had that shit cocked up.
Later, I'm just like, nice, dude.
You're doing all you're making all the clips. Like, you're the punch. I mean, the things that I want to clip are things that you're saying. For the podcast, not things that I'm saying. Yeah.
No, well, I'm trying to like shake it up too. I'm trying to like, because when I'm also trying to clip it. So I watched this YouTube short. I did my research on how to do Instagram. So I'm going to learn. I'm going to do Instagram. And she was like, she was explaining, you got to post. I was like, okay, got to post. First and foremost, nailed it. No, but she was like, you have to have like diversify your content and all this stuff. Because I can't just do it. I have to like watch a bunch of YouTube shorts on how to do it. Because I'm like, this is too hard. So I was like trying to diversify, and then I'm also trying to do some like clips from like when Max films my stand-up to like kind of diversify that. Because I'm going to try, because she said when you go on, I'm just also taking her word as the gospel. I was like, this lady explained it to me how I understand. She is the correct one. And then so she said when you start, do a bunch, like put a bunch of stuff out. Because it's going to be weird, I guess, if I just have one thing, a picture or a video or whatever. Anyway, I'm really like, I don't want you to think that I'm just never gonna do it. I'm like, I'm gonna share.
Literally had this thought this morning on the way to the bank.
Did you really?
I was like, she's never gonna do this.
I'm 100% gonna do it. I am trying to do it on a timeline that is, I'm not beating myself up for, because I'm like, when I say I'm gonna do something, I come through on it, and I'm like, but take your time and like figure out how you want to do it. So anyway,
make sure you feel good about it.
Because I don't. Every time I think about doing social media, I get what I can only assume girls are referring to as the ick. I'm just like, I was like, I
still love that you talk about girls like you're not one.
Yeah, well, you know.
I've heard the femoids say this thing ick.
No, well, I'm just like, you know, that's who I'm hearing say it on YouTube shorts, you know? Yeah. So I'm just like, the girls are saying this. And I'm like, for sure, girls. I'll say that too now. I'm just like, I'm going to adapt. Like
day 76, they still haven't
I'm like
realized.
Tarzan. I'm just like, that's how we do. So anywho, yes. So I'm going to do it. I'm like, take your time with it. Because every time I'm like, my thoughts are so dumb to like put out there. I'm like, and then like we talked about last time, I was like, someone's going to tell me I'm dumb and I'm not cut out for it. So I'm just like, I'm building that. I'm like, you could take that. You could be like, nah, dude, you're dumb. I was like, sick comeback number 1. Write it down.
Yeah.
That way we have them for when we do start posting online. But
Oh, that's not a good idea to start like getting into fights with people.
dang, okay, scratch it. I'll watch a different guy on YouTube. And
is that what he said? He said you should.
I don't know.
He said you should definitely respond to them.
No, they didn't say that. They didn't even cover what to do. I'm like, I'm just going to post and then I'll figure that out as we go.
Yeah. You got to remember too. Actually, this lines into something I did want to talk about. Are you familiar with the dead internet theory?
Definitely not, Jared.
Nice. Okay. So the dead internet theory is the idea that there is most of the internet's traffic is driven by bots, not by real people. Oh. And the tipping point happened in like 2016, 2017. Mm-hmm. So once people started creating bots that were like producing comments and YouTube videos and stuff like that, we basically hit a tipping point where there are fewer people on the internet than there are bots. And
there's so many people.
What's that?
There's so many people in the world. That's crazy to be like, there's that many more bots.
Yeah, but most people, the theory goes, most people are on the internet just observing, not creating or contributing. So most of the stuff that you're seeing, most of the comments that people are making are not necessarily people. Now, no one's been able to like for sure dead to rights prove this yet, but there's a lot of YouTube videos about like, hey, this is why people think this.
Yeah.
And this is a big reason why Elon almost backed out of buying Twitter.
Right.
Because he was like, dude, how many things on here are actually even real people? Which, again, that's a dubious thing to look into because some people think Elon was just buying Twitter as collateral to free up his Tesla stock because it was tied up in such a way that he couldn't just liquidate it if he wanted to. He had to purchase something. But if he was in the process of purchasing it and it fell through, he could still free up that cash.
Dubious.
So, yes, doubtful.
I like that. No, I know.
Yeah.
I know that one. I just like the word. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
My type of shit.
So bots?
Yeah. So the dead internet theory is just the idea that like, if people are going to start commenting on this, out of the 100 comments, like 5 of them might be real people, but most of it might just be really sophisticated bot farms in Russia.
Huh. How do we talk to them? How do we tell the bots to comment on our thing? Guys, do it. Bots. Robot people.
Activate Orta 96785.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm down with people comments. I'm down with robot comments. Just comment, dude.
Yeah, dude, what if the robots fucking love you? They're just like, Kaitlin should be our god.
I think that's pretty good. Are we like getting more and more into like an AI kind of whatever, dude?
Well, this is why this theory's coming up even more now, because with AI, people are like, oh fuck, like these bots are probably also being powered by AI, which means it's passing. Do you know what the Turing test is?
No.
So Alan Turing was this, I think it was a computer scientist, either during World War II or right after World War II. And he created what was called the Turing test, which was how a Turing test is you talk to like a chatbot, and if it can fool you into thinking it's a human, then it has passed the Turing test. Oh. And more bots are passing the Turing test now than aren't.
So they had chatbots in World War II?
They might have. I think DARPA did. So DARPA is
obviously DARPA.
We're like right next to it.
Are we?
Where it was created. Yeah, the Livermore Labs. Yeah, so DARPA was is a program that basically does all the research and development for the CIA, the government. So like napalm was like a DARPA initiative. A lot of the chemical weapons used in Vietnam, possibly part of the Manhattan Project was like DARPA funded or something like that. And a lot of that stuff came out of the Livermore Lab. So we're actually, it's the #1 nuclear like target on the the U.S. Western coast.
What?
So yeah, if they drop a nuke,
that's not good.
Yeah, if they drop a nuke on the West Coast, it's gonna immediately evaporate us. So we won't even feel anything.
But the outlets are out here.
I know.
So
that's what I keep trying to tell Putin. I was like, just come, get some Gucci slippers,
dude.
You're gonna change your mind.
It's gonna be fine.
It's
oh
nice.
Man.
Yep.
Okay, so if a robot passes this test, that's a good robot because it acts like a people.
Well, it's scary. It just means that we can't tell it's a robot. It's
I can't. If you're a good or bad robot, let's just put that out.
No, yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's a good or bad robot. It just means it's sophisticated enough to trick us. And I wish I could remember why. I might need you to look this up. Why the Turing test was created, Noah. I know. I feel like it was a long time ago. I want to say this was the 50s.
Not to put you on the spot, how do you spell Turing?
Turing. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a movie where Benedict Cumberbatch played Alan Turing. Because Alan Turing was also gay.
Haven't seen it.
And
Oh, okay. That I know. I haven't seen it, but I know that.
The movie?
I think.
Yeah. So, but I don't know enough about Alan Turing other than I know that he created the Turing test. But he was some sort of scientist, or computer scientist, I think, that was developing machines. And he was the first one to be like, these things, if we keep going this way, will eventually get clever enough that they'll be able to trick us, which is why he came up with the test. Like, this is when we should stop.
Yeah.
But basically, we're like, not doing
But we
that.
were like,
Yeah, so it's a 1950 thing.
Dude, I'm fucking so on it.
He
when the
created
World
the
War was?
test to provide a practical way to assess whether a machine could exhibit intelligent behavior indistinguishable from that of a human.
And what did he do before this? Like, what was his job?
so that told you why?
Told me why.
Why he did that?
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I'm asking the question.
Yeah, no, but so why did he do that?
Why did he create the Turing test? Because he could tell back then that if we
Oh, it's gonna
kept
be
developing the
problematic.
technology, yeah.
Got it.
He worked in code breaking for World War II as a mathematician
There we
and
go.
logician.
That's crazy. We had code in World War
Dude,
II.
I got Rogan level intelligence. Not
Obviously.
Rogan level smartness, but like I can hear something and remember like 60% of it.
We love that.
And then just start riffing off it. Like,
How
I
is
could-
that different from knowing it? That is the same as knowing it.
because I know enough to know I don't know the whole thing. And if I keep talking, I'm going to start lying.
That's probably the sweet spot, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
Usually,
that's
that's
why I'm-
as far as I go.
yeah, that's what I should do. What are you going to say, Noah?
He earned a doctorate at Princeton in 1938.
I see. I didn't know that.
Fun.
Nice.
Extra fact.
Wow, we're not even going to charge you for that one.
That one's free.
That one's on the house. It's very silly riff we're doing now. No, I do want to ask about TikTok because do I have to learn TikTok or is it going to be illegal?
I think that there's so much American money now being made on TikTok. It's going to be hard to get rid of. When Trump was trying to get rid of it during his first administration, I think that was his best chance because now TikTok has the TikTok shop. So basically, when TikTok first came out, everyone was getting on there doing dances. Like if you were cute, you were getting a lot of attention. A lot of good-looking people are not getting attention on there anymore unless they're also shilling products from the TikTok shop. That's what's really pushing people's. Like, have you ever met Shining?
Maybe.
Shining is a Bay Area comedian who got really big on TikTok before she ever did stand-up. She has like 500,000 followers.
That's awesome.
And now she puts out content and she doesn't get nearly as much attention because she's just making the content she used to make. It's not making any product. And it's funny. I'm not saying it's not good.
Right.
But she took a bunch of time off to do stand-up, so she didn't stay like in the algorithms like good graces. So now that she's starting kind of from zero again, and I say from zero because, again, she still has 500,000 followers on there. They're not seeing her stuff because from like TikTok's perspective, she's not pushing products and she didn't stay consistent enough to build an audience that would buy products. So I don't know. I think we should get rid of it as much as I like it.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good idea. We've seen how much that like China has spyware and stuff that goes into like monitoring your keystrokes. Like they basically, when you put TikTok on your phone, it gets access to your whole phone. It's not just when you're on TikTok. I don't think that's good.
Yeah.
And the counter argument is, well, Mark Zuckerberg's doing that too. And I'm like, okay, fair, but maybe I'd rather give it to him because
Yeah.
he's an American.
Right.
And it's like,
That's where
he's going to help me make, or he's going to use that information to probably make better ads.
Yeah.
And China's going to use it to take down our country.
Really?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
So,
How does
but I
China
also
do
use
that?
TikTok, so I'm a huge hypocrite.
Aren't we all? You know, that's
Yeah.
really the everything. But so it's like, how does China go from like, okay, we're doing these fun dances on TikTok, and then because then that's how you watch it, and then it sees what else your phone's doing.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, it was definitely coming in phases. So the first phase of TikTok was, how do we become the most popular app on the internet? And then The next phase was how do we monetize the people that are on there? First, they tried giving the money to the creators, and it didn't really work. That was when Charlie D'Amelio, Addison Rae, all these like Bella Porch, all these like big TikTok influencers, they didn't generate careers out of that, right? And by generate a career, especially when you do it online, it's just how do people make money off of what you're doing? So I think they ended up switching to like the TikTok shop model. And you've seen it if you've been on TikTok since 2020, it's a very different app now. What gets promoted, the only other thing that gets promoted are political movements that I think divide the country, which again, if you're Chinese, that's what you want. You want to see Americans fighting over silly stuff. So, yeah, I think it's being used to make the younger people hate their parents, hate their country.
Done. I'm just kidding.
And say that again?
I was like, done.
Yeah.
We're already there. Uh-huh.
But yeah, no, I think that's what it's for. And there's a lot of people who would say that's crazy, you're being conspiratorial, but like
that's Jared being Jared.
That's me. That's who I am. And I also don't think I'm wrong. So would love to.
That's his truth.
Yeah, dude.
You're not allowed to come for anybody's truth. That's
no, they could come for my truth because I'm a white male.
Okay.
My truth is able to be,
robots attack in the comments.
Get me. Russia sucks. Although Russia did just like drop an ICBM on Ukraine. Did you see that? So
what were the letters you threw at me? Let's start there.
Intercontinental ballistic missile. They launched a missile at Ukraine.
That's not good.
Which was a big, we weren't going to do that. And now we're doing that. And then Biden just signed something saying that they can now send ICBMs back at Russia. So the war is escalating. It's getting pretty.
That sounds bad.
Spicy. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
Not good, as Tim Dillon would say. Not good. I don't love it.
Yeah, no, I don't watch the news. So I'm pretty happy in general. But
I think most of the time you don't need to watch it.
Yeah.
But like
you can just find out stuff on your podcast. That's how I think. I'm just like, you know what?
I just find out stuff on my podcast.
Jared's gonna give me the information I need about this.
I should not be your only news source. I'm 3 shakes away from Tucker Carlson. That's what I think. So
it's working out for me.
Post Fox News Tucker Carlson. Which means less Republican, more aliens.
Yeah, and on Kill Tony. So
yeah,
that's how I know.
He's such a goober. I like watching his show. I think he's funny, but he's also just like you listen to him talk, and he's just such a strange person. Like, so what you're saying, what you think, is that there are aliens that might also be demons.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that right? Yeah. I've always felt that actually, and you're like, whoa, Tucker, what the fuck?
It's kind of Shapiro-esque too, right? Just like that.
The
way of talking.
Yeah, it's like a weird evolution of the transatlantic accent, which was that old, like, coming to California, 1976. Like, they all started with this thing, and the whole reason why they came up with, I'm doing Trump hands for this, the whole reason why they came up with the transatlantic accent was because it was the most understandable for everybody in the country. It was kind of like the middle ground accent.
Right.
But all these people that now come from legacy media, I feel like they are doing a more modern version of that, which is like your Ben Shapiro's. It's like the cadence that they talk makes sure that I'm sure like AI scripts can pick up their voice. Have you ever like used voice text?
No. Only when I can't spell a word. That happened to us this week. I was like, I don't remember what the word is now, but I was like, just so you know, I had to say that one into my phone because I couldn't spell it.
I like to use voice text a lot, but I end up sounding like Shapiro when I do it to make sure when I actually like press send, there's no typos. So I'd be like, hey, Kaitlin, period. I am going to be sending you the clips yesterday. Be like, period. Yeah. And my mom does it. And my mom talks like my mom and she goes, this thing fucking sucks. It doesn't get anything right. And I was like, because she's like, okay, that sounds good. I mean, well, that's great. Thanks, babe. Okay, bye. That's not at all what I fucking said.
Yeah. The cutest.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah.
She hates this camera angle.
Oh, what?
And I told her it's because the stand's broken.
How should we? What is
She wants it lower.
Okay.
And
yeah, got it.
Yeah.
This is the Mariah Carey angle. So this is yeah, as far as I know. So this is, I mean, the last we talked, but it's like more flattering to go from up and then shoot down.
Oh, okay. You ever watched
The girls say that.
Did you ever watch the Dollar Stream from Sam Hyde?
Nope.
Oh, Sam Hyde is like he's like an infamous internet comedian.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and his podcast, The Dollar Stream, it's so high up, it's almost like you're like peeking over to watch them.
Funny.
They have a cool set. It's like a bunch of old TVs that are like, some of them are playing static in the background. But yeah, I'll show you the clip sometime. It's like really high up.
Yeah.
And Sam Hyde's not a handsome man. Like I get why he doesn't want people to have to look at his face. But I thought of it because I had a conversation with my mom about the show, and she was like, "Why is the angle so high? Like, why is like?" It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
It's like, well, thing's broken.
Yeah,
What am I gonna do? But yeah, then I watched that and I was like, yeah, see, it doesn't matter. And then you look at some of the new Matt and Shane secret podcasts, like they don't even put lights on.
No.
They're all in the dark.
I love that. It's just like, it's like, hey, there couldn't be any more of like, it's just dudes on a podcast and we're talking about the funny things that happened in our life this week. And that's what I like. That's what I go on the internet for. I'm just like, tell me about your funny week. And they do. They don't put, and I think that it's like, they'll lean into like no production value at all.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, we definitely watch different stuff on the internet.
You know, we watch such different stuff. I'm curious about.
Tell me about the banking system.
I'm curious about what your mom is watching.
My mom loves Reddit.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, she's such a Redditor. She sends me so much stuff on Reddit, which is so funny because there was a period where she didn't even know what Reddit was. Like, I remember being in the car with her and explaining to her how Reddit worked. And she's like, I could just see her being hella confused. And then one day it just clicked. And then she became the ultimate Reddit person. My dad, always telling him he'd always be confused why I never had cable. And like now all he watches is YouTube.
Yeah.
And my dad is a Shane Gillis Fox News dad. So he is just mainlining
Love him.
all of the red channels. And I'm like, this is hilarious. Like he's exactly where I expected him to be.
Right.
So yeah, I love my parents. I love that
They're the best.
They do things at their own speed, but God, when they find it, they're off.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my mom watches a lot of either cute or my mom loves Schadenfreude. She loves watching people fall.
Nice.
She loves like that. That's what makes her laugh the hardest is like watching someone fall. And she would laugh at us when we would fall and then she'd come be a mom. But like she had a moment of like, oh my God, come here. That's just what she loved.
So she must be a big ridiculousness fan. My dad loves ridiculousness.
I feel like my dad would love it more.
They've never watched it?
I don't think my mom likes the in between part.
Or like America Home Videos.
Yeah, we watched a lot of those.
AFV.
Yep, we watched a lot of that stuff. But I think with ridiculousness, I don't think she'd like Rob Dyrdek. I think she'd find him a little obnoxious.
Okay.
And I'm speaking
Hot
for her.
take,
I
Mrs.
could be
Camacho.
wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I know what my mom likes and like when it comes to people's personalities, and I feel like she'd find Rob Dyrdek a little bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't watch like Robin Big, and your mom wasn't exposed to him like slowly but surely in your youth? You weren't a Robin Big guy?
No, I mean I've watched enough of the show to like know what it was and how it worked. Ooh. Fun thing, I mean he kept MTV relevant for like.
He is MTV now.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he did big Dyrdek head myself, I'm finding out in this moment. But Robin Big was huge, and then he transitioned that to Fantasy Factory, and then from Fantasy, and you know what? And Chanel West Coast gets a bad rap on ridiculousness. Everyone's like, oh, she just laughs. Nobody remembers her where she started, right? As the receptionist at the Fantasy Factory. So she put in her time and her work, and she got hurt a lot. Your mom would love these shows. I'm thinking about it right now. I was like, she likes people getting hurt. Watch Fantasy Factory.
Maybe, and this is why I'm afraid to talk about my parents because I'll say one thing and I don't want to like misrepresent them, but like,
yeah, no.
Again, I personally feel like my mom would not like ridiculousness because my dad loved Tosh.0. Oh, my dad. Yes. Yeah, my dad loved Tosh.0. My mom didn't really care for it, but she thought Tosh was funny. Like it's one of those things. Like I don't know. Like it's.
Did she watch what was that show on E? Like the Chat Soup with Joel McHale?
No, see, I don't.
No.
Those types of shows are not for her. I don't know how else to like, and I don't know how to justify that with her personality. But that's never anything that she's really watched.
Really?
My mom loves. She's an ID channel girl.
What was that?
ID channel. She
Ah.
likes like death
Murder.
and yeah. That's her.
Isn't everybody's mom, honestly? My mom loves a good murder show, and she loves horror.
Mhm.
Special Victims Unit.
Yeah.
There's that.
Noah loved Law and Order SVU.
Obviously, it's the best Law and Order for sure. You try to watch the other ones, you're like, what the hell is this?
Watching my mom watch the ID channel is the best.
Oh,
So funny.
believable.
I always thought my $1 million podcast idea was if my mom and this girl I used to be friends with named Jordan, who was just like my mom, like she was like a younger version of my mom, that them together just talking about ID channel shows, like a post ID channel show, it would crush.
Do that podcast.
It would be so funny. Well, Jordan and I don't talk anymore, but
Well, don't steal that idea then. But we could get your mom set up with another lady.
that would be the premier pairing though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're both funny in ways that I don't think you can replicate. Like just the way my mom's like the person who'd be like, you gonna go in the fucking car? Like you're gonna drop your keys? Fucking
Yeah.
every time, Jay. Every time they fucking this is so like, and that's what's so great about it. And hella fun. Hella funny.
No, I mean I don't know, right? Every time you've talked about your parents, I only take away good stuff. So I
They're
feel
great.
like, yeah.
They're great. They're goofy.
Yeah.
I'm
We
goofy.
love that. We love a goofy
Yeah.
parent. My dad loves Tosh.0. I asked my dad, because we're getting into comedy. I was like, who's your favorite comedian, Dad? And he was like, Daniel Tosh. And I was like, what's your favorite bit? And then he just like fully describes an episode of ridiculousness. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's the same thing, but I was like, I'm going to look for tickets for you though, because you think it's Daniel Tosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my dad obsessed with those shows. You could just you'll like hear them in the background and it'll just be like, yeah, and that whole thing. I don't want to get copy or whatever.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the humor they do in commercials is funny?
Do you have any specific commercial reference? Because I'm not thinking of any commercial being funny.
When you watch the Super Bowl,
yes. I like it.
you do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What's wrong with it,
My
Jared?
dad
You
loves,
hate it.
Yeah, my dad loves commercial humor.
Yeah.
And there are a few things that make my blood boil
Really?
more than that type of humor.
Aw.
Yeah, I think it's so base and vapid and just like
That's what's funny
it's
about
made
it.
for idiots, and it just
Yeah.
upsets me.
We love it.
It makes me so mad.
But then again, you know your dad's not an idiot. Your dad is.
No,
you
I know. My dad wants to laugh at something he doesn't have to pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's the
I
best.
know you've seen this commercial, the one with Kevin Hart and LeBron James, when they're sitting next to each other. That's a great commercial, and it happens every Sunday.
I couldn't even remember it.
Aw.
It's
My dad loves the "Don't Be Like Your Parents" coach. You know the series of those.
That's a good guy.
Hate those.
That's a good guy
Hate
to be.
them. No shade to the actors doing that. Get your bag.
The live, laugh, love guy? Yeah, we love
Dude,
that guy. Is your dad a
whatever.
big like Jake from State Farm guy? He's like, yes.
I think he doesn't mind the Jake from State Farm, but like the "Don't Be Your Parents" thing, my dad will bring that up. If comedy comes up in a in a thing, he's like, I saw this commercial, and that's when I like want to flip the table. But I love my
the
parents. Yeah,
best.
no,
Yeah.
it's not for me.
Aw, man.
I loved Tim and Eric so much because their whole show was like shitting on all that stuff. You ever watch the Tim and Eric show?
No, but Eric Andre?
So Eric Andre is a different person.
Eric Andre show.
Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim had a sketch show that was like, but very much in the style of Eric. Eric Andre is the next version of Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric are the first guys to actually put like that absurdist, like you ever watch like I Think You Should Leave on Netflix?
No, I'm familiar.
Okay, but
no.
yeah, that style of comedy starts with Tim and Eric.
Okay.
And they would do basically it looked like you were watching public access television, but everything was really parodied and crazy.
Yeah.
And I loved it because I hate commercials so much. And then they ended up making real commercials. So like they
All
did
comes
like
around.
a Doritos commercial where they just literally try to say Doritos as many times as possible. It's absurd. It's the most ridiculous thing. But a lot of great. I like absurdist comedy though too. That's the other thing. Like I get that there's like what I would call like normie comedy. Like to me, that's like commercial comedy is like normie comedy. Like, oh, he did a pun.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like my dad. Like I'm like, get out of here. Like, what?
Yeah. And then it's like just the opposite. It's just like, whoa, I would have never expected that to come out of their mouth or their crab walk, you know?
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's why I like Casey, too. Yeah.
Obviously.
Like, so, like.
Out there.
But there's what's great about like a Casey Rocket too is there's still an internal logic to the bits. They're not as random as they seem.
Yes.
And that's what's so fun for me is like there is a construction here. There is a plan. It looks like it's all this other shit. Yeah, no, and that's exactly what Tim and Eric did with the whole sketch genre. They had this fucking great commercial where this guy goes like, I got all the best prices. Look, I got $6.99, $7.99, $3.99. And the other guy goes, I got premium prices, $20.99. He's all, don't listen to Eric. And they're fighting each other. It's like, don't listen to Eric. He'll rape you. I love
that.
It's insane. I'll have to show it to you. It's so, yeah, but like that, just take something that is real where like you've seen a commercial where someone kind of slights their competitor and they just dial it to 13 until it's like, what is happening? Yeah, so great.
No, I love that. That's.
Eric Andre clips to make me laugh more than anything ever. I love watching, and again, it's another kind of level of Schadenfreude, just watching these poor guests think they're on a real late night show, and him just fucking with them. You ever watch like
Impractical Jokers?
Watch that.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I can get down with that. That's about like to me, because I would still consider them more of that like mainstream normie kind of comedy, but I like that's about as far as I can go.
That's where like the Venn diagram loops, right? Where it's
because they do that one where you have to get to the TV and there's a crocodile. And love that.
Yeah.
Loved it so much. Love watching people go like, oh fuck. There's
yeah, no, I think it's like it's the absurd, but then it's also like the like family friendly almost of like the of the Super Bowl commercials. But you were gonna say a different thing. I was guessing Impractical Jokers.
I totally forgot.
Fuck.
Gosh darn it.
Damn it, Kaitlin.
No, that's fine. That was nice.
Do you think I should swear less?
No, actually, you should ramp it up.
You think I should fucking just throw them all in there?
Why would we ever want to monetize this show?
Well, it was a genuine question because I noticed because you clipped a little piece of it when you did a good job and promoted on your social media, which I will do too one day.
Instagram automatically does that.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
If I use
I can say whatever I want.
Because I hadn't paid for CapCut Pro yet, so I can use the
We're right there.
I bought it today because there was a Black Friday sale for it. So now I have it on my phone. Nice. So
have you played with it yet or no?
Yeah, it's just what used to be free is now you have to pay for.
Right.
The auto captions.
That's the big thing.
Yeah. So I paid for it, and I was going to tell you that like if you do cut the clips, still send them to me because I have it for a whole year now. Yeah, I know this is great content for you guys. You guys love.
You guys are gonna love that.
Hearing how the sauce is made.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was holding off for the longest time because I was like, I don't want to. I'll find a free way to do this. And if you do it through Instagram, it'll automatically bleep out any swear words it hears. So I didn't do that myself.
Okay. But should I stop swearing? Should I do less of it?
I think you should just be you.
I'm trying so hard. I'm trying to figure that out though. It's also like a real time, like, who am I?
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm a guy who cusses a little bit. I just like broke that down to our kid this week. I was like, I cuss. Yeah.
And he goes, you're a guy?
Yeah, he was like, he goes, obviously, dude. No, we had like a really cool conversation actually because I get a little anxious. Doing really anything on stage that involves anybody else. Like if I do one about my husband or if I do one about my kid, it's like, I don't ever want it. The way I do my comedy right now is like I'm always the butt of my jokes. It's always like whatever I thought or whatever I do, and that is funny.
Not my style.
Yeah, well, and that opposites attract, you know? And so I've been doing a joke with him about his cheerleading, you know? And then so I was like, hey, because actually Noah and we did a show on Monday.
Joking about his bravery.
Yeah, which is hilarious. But Noah and I did a show on Monday, and it had a really big crowd. And I was like, oh, I've never really done it for a big crowd before. And then a part of me is like, oh, I don't ever want it somehow to like get back to him without like getting his stamp of approval, you know? So I was so anxious to be like, because I've walked a few jokes through him, and there's been one, he's like, I actually don't like that one. And I'll be like, okay, I don't say it anymore. You know, that's fine. And this, I was like, hey, I want to run this by you. And then so I'm like, I'm doing it for him. And he's like, yeah, no, that's good. That's funny. And I was like, oh, cool, thanks. And it was a really nice moment because it's like, I'm still parent first, it's like parent first and then everything else. And so it's like, it was just nice for him to be like, to also understand me enough to be like, I'm not making fun of him in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Thank God, because it killed.
Dude, I was like, I was like, I told my husband, I was like, what if he I was so worried because I was like, and he is the best. Like, he is just the best guy. And he's just like, don't get attached to any one joke. You're going to write another joke and it's going to be funny.
Very true.
And he's just the sweetest and the best. And then I was like, but it fucking kills. I was like, it kills so hard, dude. And I get very attached to my jokes that are like, I don't think anybody else is going to write anything in that vein.
Yeah, I get it.
When I talk about Max and his hobby of falconry, nobody else is talking about falconry like that. And I'm like, nobody else is really talking about their kid doing cheerleading. For sure. And I'm like, I also think those are the things that could kind of get big at some point, you know? So it's like, so anywho, so I was just like so happy and I was like so proud of my kid and I'm also like, I'm trying to instill things in him where I'm like, so is a joke the truth? He's like, no, because it's a joke. And then I was like, is it always, the honesty of whatever? And he's just like, the joke, which is the definition I gave him. I was like, he's like, the joke is whatever is or could be funny about a situation. And I'm like,
that's great.
I was like, my man. And it's really sweet.
Glaze him. Keep glazing him.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. I think it sounds good though. Cause like, I think of a donut.
It's a good thing.
And I love a donut. Toothless Dan, tell me if this is not interesting. Should I? And I mean that with so much love. I texted Jared and I was like, Toothless Dan is my new best friend and we're going to go see Wicked together. Tell me if it's not interesting me talking about my kid because I'll try and knock it off. But until you tell me in the comments otherwise, Mr. Dan, I'm going to keep doing it. Or anybody else, everybody chime in who wants to. Robots, get in there. But yeah, he was like, he wanted to be a radio like DJ for a little bit. Also, what he wants to be changes constantly for
Yeah, he's like 13, right?
Well, he's 11. And he was like, that's very funny too. There's one tweet he did want me to make to the cheerleading joke, which I don't know if I'm going to do, but I'll tell you about it.
Would it kill?
No. And that's why I don't know if I'm going to do it. But anywho, during the pandemic, he really wanted to be a waiter. So it changes constantly. He's like, I want to be a waiter. That's what I want to be. And I was like, well, you should talk to so-and-so because they do that. Anyway, then he wanted to be a radio DJ. And then I said something about...
These are fun jobs.
I know. He's so funny. And so I'm just like, I said something about...
So he's so jealous of you having a podcast.
He so we haven't talked about it yet, but Max got like some...
Max, your husband?
My husband, Max, yep. I'm trying to not acknowledge him in the room because I actually, when I cut the clips, it is annoying. I'm going to say that. I'm like, that's annoying when I do that. I'm going to knock it off because it's hard to cut around it. And so anywho, he got some equipment and he was like really excited about it because, we want to try to like also start knowing how to do. And so he's all into it.
How great would it be that your kid gets so good at it that he makes your clips?
Oh.
And then boom.
Right. You don't have to pay for that, I don't think.
Well, I was actually going to say, and now you have a family business, but you are being hella white right now.
No, but then, which I am. And then so he's like, I don't want to be a radio DJ anymore. I want to be a stand-up comedian. And then I was like, okay. And I was like, you can be whatever you want. And then so anyway, so we're like talking about it. So when we're having these conversations about joke writing, and then he's like, do you think you could teach me some stuff about comedy after? And I'm like, guy, I'm nobody to be teaching anybody. And he's like, but you're an adult and you are doing comedy. So like, could you teach me this? And I was like,
you're the closest expert I know.
I know. And then so anyway, so we had his whole edit. I was like, hey, and so we're talking about the cheerleading joke. And I was like, hey, so I wasn't going to tell him verbatim because normally I'm like, here's the concept. And I was like, F it. So I just did it verbatim for him. And he was like, for sure, dude. And then I was like, nice, nailed it. And he's like, I don't like that you say I'm a middle schooler. And I was like, what should I say instead? He's like, you should say I'm in 6th grade. And I'm like, why? That is middle school. And he was like, because it's more impressive that I made the cheerleading team. And I was like, big facts, dog. You are the only 6th grader on the cheerleading team.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so I'm obsessed with him. He's the best.
I guess you could work that in. Not that you have to, but like if you're gonna do it that way, because so I'm assuming then he's the youngest person on the squad.
Yeah.
Oh, so like yeah, he's the only kid in 6th grade who made the cheerleading team. Like that's the only way that you'd work that in there to like bit it up. But that is funny though.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta let him know. Like
he's like, put some respect on my name, big dog. And I'm like, for sure, dude, you're correct.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh.
Are there any other boys on there?
Yeah. There's a few other boys. So, you know.
Does he get along with them?
Yeah, he gets along with mostly everybody, you know? I mean, and there's some, you know, actually he was like, don't talk about what happens at school. So I'm like, remembering that.
Okay, my
moment.
bad. My bad,
you know,
Biggie. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, our bad kid.
You didn't tell me the rules, so, you know.
I know. And
it's really not my fault at all, actually.
It's because they're new, and I'm figuring it out. But, so anywho. But yeah, no. But he's not the only dude, and he gets along.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I know, I get it. Like, I have this one joke about my son, Noah. And
right. And he wants to be a stand-up comic just like you.
No, I've used a joke about his real life. I don't think I've ever told on podcast, so I'm not going to do that. But I'll use it to, if I'm following him, I will say it. Very rarely I do it before he comes up, but sometimes I worry that it like buries him, like it doesn't make him look good. So I ask him, I'm like, are you okay that I do this? And he goes, oh yeah, it's hilarious. Like, but I do get that though, because you tell something like, oh, this is so funny.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I'm not the victim of this joke right now.
Right.
Like, he has to now walk with this information being out there.
Yeah.
Type thing. So I'm like, okay, I am gonna check this by him.
That joke, actually, someone told me Thursday I should start telling it, and I was like, there's a reason why I don't say it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like that story, like I honestly I like it the way you say it better. I never said it in a way that I liked it.
And I did tell him if he ever did want it, I told him he should be saying it, and until he decided to, I was going to keep doing it. But yeah, it's something that it's only contextual to you. You have to have shown up in the show already for it to even make sense. It's not something I would just do. So that's why I'm like, this is something you could always use because you're always around you. That was a dumbass way to say that, but.
And you are great, and I am so proud of you, my son Noah.
Dude, no way.
Hug. Oh, okay.
Even he looks uncomfortable in here right now.
Okay.
That's funny.
No, but I try to be I get really worried about that too. Like when I'm hosting is like, cause when I try to be like, I like to be very personalized, especially if like I know the comics that are like on the card. So I try to do that too, but it's like, oh, I don't want to say that because then what if I don't want, then they have to do a joke about that.
Right.
You know, or then they have to acknowledge it. And a lot of the times we kind of go on like, I know what I want to start with. I know how I want to open it up. So I get that same thing where it's like, oh, I don't know if I should say this.
Well, and some people, they always make a joke about you as the host. That's always their vibe. And I go like, well, it should be a little bit of tit for tat then if you're going to take it.
Absolutely.
But I get it. I used to do this thing where I just make up stuff about people that they never had to. So I'd be like, oh, this guy is wanted for war crimes in Libya, but he's got a great joke about Iraq. He may or may not do. Like, Noah Guerrero, everybody. So
very funny.
Like, what?
Oh, I would die for that.
Like, what? And I would try to find like weird things like that to say about, especially if it's a comic I've never met before. Like a new name on the bill, I'd be like, hey, what do you want me to say about you? And then I just say whatever I wanted.
Crazy.
It's pretty fun because you like, anyway, I like chess. And they're like, talk about Iraq.
We want to hear that one.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Oh, that's so funny.
Woo.
Man, just having a ball and a half, you know?
Yeah. That would suck to have.
What the hell? I like when you laugh. When you giggle, it's condescending. No.
Don't you hate it when you get the audience members that are like,
yeah,
and they're like right in front, and you're like,
you know what I hate is like when I do a call and response where I'll be like, where my millennial women at? And then they raise their hands, and I'm like, all right, we're a real respectful crowd. Nice. Miss. And then I'll just, you know, whatever. So yeah, no, I do. I have little like.
And that's another thing as the host, I feel like you have to woo from the back.
Oh,
and like
I'm such a wooer.
I've wooed so many things I'm not.
Know.
Like, you know, who has 7 girlfriends? I'm like, woo. People were like, what?
Yeah.
Nah, dude, just no one was gonna gas this person up. This is gonna be a bad.
Dude, I'm trying to like woo for everything for everybody. But then also it's like I don't know sometimes, and that's the thing too, where it's like what I also like about comedy is like you also got to have a response for if there's no woos, and sometimes I get more excited about that thing that I have loaded.
Oh, I call them parachute lines.
Oh, sure.
Because if you jump out, at least you have your parachute, so you're good.
I get more excited about those than I do like what I was going for in the first place, you know?
Yeah. I got really good at using my parachutes at the G because that place will fucking bury you. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been?
I went one time when I was super, super new. So it was like maybe my second month or something. But it was cool.
Yeah, it's a fun little spot. Fun little place. What else is on your list of things to get to? Did you have anything? I got through mine. Dead Internet Theory, Absurdist Comedy, Commercials Suck.
No, I think that was everything.
We're done here then.
So, I mean, if there's any comments for this one, Robot, People, Toothless Dan, otherwise, let us know what you want us to talk about next time.
Cool. This has been another comedy podcast. See you guys later.
Bye. We love you. We're going to clap now. Hold on. We're going to clap now.